Hey guys, so today we are answering a subscriber question, and the question in question was, Frederick, I am a small business owner. Should I build a native app for my business or should I use a progressive web application? So let's get into it. Well, this is a pretty good question and it touches on it's going to be a bit of a spin-off on the idea I've presented in a previous video about, the future of mobile and the biggest threat to mobile development. And I will argue that progressive web applications are fairly likely the biggest threat that the mobile world faces. And it simply is because the inherent business value of a mobile application, or native mobile application, is a lot lower than that of the web. Just let me walk you through this idea. So as a small business owner, the first and foremost thing that you're going to require in order to make it anywhere is to build up your brand awareness. If nobody knows who you are or where you if nobody knows about you, then it's very tricky for you to get any type of meaningful clients. You need to spread the word, right? That is very, very tricky to do through a mobile application alone, simply because of there are a few factors, but a simple thing as that statistically more people are likely to click a link and just visit a website than they are to go and download somebody's app just to kind of try it out. Just that, such a simple thing as that can be a hindrance to your business at the very early stages. And unless your company really, really needs the sort of native leverage that you can, like the power that a native application actually can provide, it makes very little sense, because you're very likely going to have some form of web presence anyway, because it's all but expected of you. Having a mobile app is not necessarily expected of every single business. It's a very good thing to have for certain companies, but it's not something that is a hard requirement for every company. However, a website and a web presence is fairly critical, because if you have one, that means that you can be indexed by search engines and you can share links, and as I said, people are more likely to visit a website than they are to download an app. And I mean, you don't even necessarily have to make a progressive web app to make something like that happen, but that's kind of the beauty of the progressive web application idea, and that is that you could, in theory, create a web application that feels as if it is a native application, and you can actually invest in the web platform to a point where, for all practical intents and purposes, it doesn't really make all that much of a difference to the user whether if it's a native app or if it's just a web app. But the differences to you as a company is going to be enormous. You have tracking capabilities and you have tons and tons and tons of benefits from being able to leverage other services that will help you out with all kinds of useful things, such as metrics gathering, analytics, these sorts of business value adding things. And just a simple thing, as I said, to be able to just share links and get exposure that way is a very powerful thing. It is technically possible to do some of this through just having a mobile application, but it's going to very likely be a tougher experience for you. Search engines are is by far and wide how most of the world finds its information. That is why Google, as an example, has, well, let's call it a little bit too much power, because they basically sit between you and everybody else. And the same is kind of true for the app stores. There is a company controlling your exposure to the world, but the web at the very least gives you the strongest likelihood that somebody's going to be able to input a search of some sort and find specifically your content. And it's also very likely that you're going to find it cheaper to develop a mobile or a web application that fits your needs and sustain that over time than it is for you to develop a mobile application. Not necessarily because there's a skill difference in the developers and things of this nature, but rather that it's by far and wide easier to find people who do web than it is to find people who do mobile development. And when it comes to that part, I think that that's something that you should very much consider, because it is a bigger investment. and likelier, trickier for you to get something off the ground with a mobile app as opposed of a web application. That's just based on my personal experience. Your experiences may differ. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you are a small business owner, then it's very likely that the thing that you need to optimize your product for is discoverability and brand awareness in the beginning of things. And for that to be as easy as possible, the web is probably the best platform to achieve that goal. And that is kind of your answer right there. You can absolutely make a native app, but you should really ask yourself whether or not that makes sense to you, because you are trading that performance and quality UX feeling for a lot of other perks that you get from the web. And I will argue that at least in the beginning, those perks outweigh the potential benefit for at least a lot of companies. And that's just something that I think that you should be aware of. It's not like mobile is bad. It's just that the web is a very good platform for being discovered. Have a great day.